I'm Stephanie Oden. Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast. And this is where we nurture, inspire, equip, ignite, and empower introvert leaders and business owners just like you who are making waves quietly and with impact. And I am thrilled to be able to bring to you another one of our Spotlight Achiever guest interviews. I like to bring people in front of you that will help you move to the next level of success, whether it's building your leadership skills, embracing who you are as you move to the next level, and growing as a business owner and entrepreneur. So I hope you grab some nuggets from what my guest shares with you. I know when my guests come on, I lean in too. I continue to learn from the people that I put in front of you. So let's dig in, shall we? Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, where we nurture the journey of introverts who desire to achieve greater levels of influence, income, and impact. The go-to podcast for introvert achievers just like you, seeking purpose-driven growth. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. Welcome to this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. And I am absolutely thrilled, as I always say when I have guests on that are quiet achievers. But first, we're not shy, we're not timid, we're not needing to be fixed. We're an introvert, and that is our superpower. Introverted AFF. Absolutely fabulous and feisty. And this guest and I have been doing our best. I won't say trying, okay, because life happens, priorities happen, but I knew that this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. But this guest and I have been wanting to have this conversation with you for a long time, so it's finally happening. So my guest today is Erika Kendrick. So Erika, if you would go ahead and say hello to our guests.
Yes, hello. I'm Erika T. Kendrick. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for having me here today. I'm excited to just get into this discussion with you. Like you said, it's been a long time coming.
Little bit about her is she is a licensed professional counselor. She's the author of the Anxious Woman Playbook series and the visionary behind the whole self-healing collective. And this is what really impressed me because she looks amazing. If you 3 decades of experience in mental health, and so I know what she's going to share is going to be rich. So get your pen and paper out, go ahead and save this, because through her clinical work and her writing, she works with high functioning women of color in survival mode. Hello, where were you when I was really drowning? And then she works with neuroscience. And those of you who've been on my podcast know that my favorite word is neuroplasticity. So if it's got neuro in it, she had me right there. She's passionate about partnering with women to connect with and heal from experiences that are living deep within us. And a lot of times those experiences hold us back. She has her bachelor's degree from Rutgers, Master of Arts in Counseling, and she is an executive and personal coach. Welcome again, Erika.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, here's the fun part. I know I read all the things about you on the bio, but I really want to hear the other stuff. Would you share something with us that's not in the bio?
Yes. So when I think about just even the other like life roles that I hold, I am a wife. I'm a mom to an amazing 21-year-old, about to be 22. I can't believe it. I'm the youngest out of five. And I'm also the aunt of 20 nieces and nephews. I'm sorry, 10, not 20. 10 nieces and nephews, which is amazing. But even outside of my roles, just like who I am as an individual, I love jazz music. That's like my soul food. I love to hear me some good jazz. I love being by the water. I don't like being in the water, but I do like being by it, the ocean, just hearing the waves crash. So, and another thing I really love is traveling. So when I think about traveling, one of my favorite ways to vacation is cruising. And I have a particular cruise line that I absolutely love. I don't, stray away from that cruise line. And the first thing I want to do when I get on there is deck five, the back of the ship. So they have these nice Adirondack chairs, And you get to just look out into the ocean. Like I said, when the ship is moving, you get to hear the waves crashing, and it's just like the best experience for me. So I really love that. That brings me a lot of peace. I'm into also just like perfumes. I just went perfume shopping, or at least I attempted to go perfume shopping this weekend, but I ended up buying a whole bunch of stuff other than the perfumes. But I love perfumes and just, feeling pretty and smelling good. But yeah, that's a little about me.
I didn't know that you like cruising.
Yes.
That is
We going?
my
We going?
absolutely, that is my happy place. I mean, that is, and I had a cruise experience that spoiled me for other cruises. And so now I'm like really stuck on that one cruise line and that specific cruise experience. The water just does something to me. Like you
Yes.
said, it's almost like my body becomes a zombie and it ceases to, I don't get hungry. I don't have to go use facilities. Like my body's like, hey, butt in the sand, we're not
Yes.
leaving. And then, with maybe it's because of how we're wired. We're so highly functional all the time that we are forced and we lean into it when we go on a cruise. Like we lean into that whole experience. Our face changes. Like, don't look for me. I'll be on the deck. Like all the other stuff, I'll just be right here on my
Right.
balcony, sipping tea, doing whatever I do. So I didn't know that. So I'm so glad you shared that with me. And I know that there has to be some neuroscience behind how the frequency of the waves and how that impacts
I'm
our
pretty
brain.
sure.
Like
I'm
it
pretty
has
sure
to
there has to
be.
be something. I'm gonna have to look into that. There has to be
Okay. All
something.
right, you look into that, and then once you look into that, come back on
Yes.
and share with us all the things because I know sound impacts, and there's just something about the waves, and we're not the only ones. And so, okay, you got an assignment. You come on the show, you get an assignment. I love it.
But then that means I gotta come back.
I
So
know, I know. You saw how I just worked that in there, like work that
yeah.
in. Okay. So your business, you have a very well-rounded, holistic approach to your business. I really want to know about that, and I want to know how you use your business and your framework to help your clients.
Yes, so I really enjoy working with women of color who are high functioning. So what that means is generally they're very successful on the outside. They have it all together. They're doing all the things, hitting all the, benchmarks and the goals and just juggling all the life roles, but inside they're exhausted.
Mhm.
So usually there's a lot of self-doubt there. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of just really trying to hold everything together without falling apart. And they're usually the ones that's, I guess, called upon to be like the stronger ones in the family, but they're just like really tired of holding on to all of that strength. So I really enjoy working with them specifically around just even like the using the wisdom of their bodies. So usually they're coming to me because they're just, they're tired and
Mhm.
they want to just get their life together. We just say it plain. And usually they just want to really have a better relationship with other people, also maybe with their work, but most importantly, just learn how to have a better relationship with themselves. So, like I said, in that we like really use the wisdom of their bodies. So thinking about like how our bodies gives us like so many different signals. And a lot of times, especially with Black women, we tend to ignore those signals because,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Been there. Like I seriously needed you in that time frame in my life when it's almost like you were describing me. Like I had it all. I was young, high pot, company car, the two kids, the husband, the two cats, making the money. And I was not okay. And I was not listening to my body.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
Because who has time, right?
I
Like,
don't have time. I
like,
don't have time to live
yeah, we
like
can't fall apart. We
I
gotta keep
can't.
going.
All these people are dependent on me. If I just
Right.
push a little harder and go a little more, I can do all these things until.
Until. Right, right. So really understanding the information that our bodies afford us and being able to leverage that. So even thinking about things simplistically. Like for me, when I get hungry, I start to feel a little nauseous. So like understanding that signal, hey, I'm nauseous. Did I eat? Checking in with myself. For some people, they get thirsty. Maybe when they get thirsty, maybe their throat gets dry. Or maybe when people get anxious, their heart starts to race. So thinking about that, but also on a bigger scale, again, like our bodies hold all of that information. So guess what? Our bodies also give us signals when we're overcompensating. It also gives us signals when we're not setting boundaries or when
Ah,
someone's overstepped our boundaries.
okay.
It also gives us signals maybe like when we need rest. So
Okay.
really being able to harness into what these signals feel like, what they actually mean. So that way it gives us an opportunity to just really hone into our emotional expression and use that to now like I said, be able to form this better relationship with ourselves. So now I have this information. Now, guess what? I can use that information to maybe like set a boundary and keep myself guarded, right, around the things maybe that's draining me or that's causing me maybe to feel like exhausted. Maybe now I can take that information and say, you know what, like really go below the surface and look at, why am I kind
Mhm.
of like overgiving or overdoing all of the things? What beliefs are upholding this?
Yeah.
What are the roots of this that maybe that I've learned from other people that I can really take that information and now be able to reorganize that in a way that really works for my life. So again, just using something like so simplistic in terms, our bodies. I'm so amazed at like just how our bodies are so like intricately designed. Like how God like
No.
really designed us, right? Like everything we need is really already in here.
Yes.
It's how
Yes.
to get there.
Yes. It is there and it talks if we listen.
Yes, yes. Really listening because we don't, because we can't, or we feel like we can't.
We feel like we
We
can.
can't slow down. We can't rest because, especially as women, we carry so much. We have so many different things that we're juggling. We have like a huge mental load. And, for a lot of us, that leads to, chronic stress, that leads to that survival mode state, that leads to burnout, and things of that sort. So a lot of times those signals get dulled because we haven't been paying attention to them.
Mhm.
And it's almost like betraying ourselves in a sense, right? Like, I
Mhm.
ain't got time to
Mhm.
listen to you right now.
I'm like, I can't, I don't have time to listen to that right now. Like, I'm right
Right.
here. And I know for me, the more I didn't listen, the bad state became normal.
Yes.
And it wasn't until the cycle was broken that I realized, wow, I was really jacked up. And I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it because I had moved past all of the physical roadblocks that my body had naturally set.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
barreled right through them until it basically said, okay, go ahead and do you, boo. In a minute, you'll be back. You'll be
Listen.
down. Don't worry about it. I'll be here.
Yes. And even just touching on something that, when you asked me earlier, just even like the things that, I enjoy, like even something like that can become less enjoyable for people because
Mhm.
you start ignoring those signals. And like I said, become so dulled out. And then you realize, you know what, I'm in a different state than what I thought I was. Like this reminds me of even just my own experience with burnout, where, in the past, if I was stressed or just kind of needed a break, the cruise was it for me. Like a nice little
Mhm.
vacation
Mhm.
cruise, like I'm good. And I remember maybe like a year or so ago that went on vacation, had a nice vacation, didn't do nothing. Went to the beach, just was on the beach all day by the way, like just in my happy place. But you know what? It didn't feel happy.
Wow.
And when I came back, I was like, you know what? I still feel exhausted.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it wasn't anything like I had experienced before. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh my, like I am burned. I'm really in this state of burnout.
Wow.
Yeah. So even that, the things that you may have found enjoyable before, sometimes that could be a signal too that those things are no longer enjoyable to you or for
That's
you.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes we think that, hey, if we just do it always the same way, that we're going to get the same result. And
Yes.
like you shared, I'm in my happy place, but and I went to my happy place and I'm still burned out when I came back. That's a signal. You talked a little bit about your recent experience. What led you down the path that you're on to where you are now?
Yes, so that's actually a great question because it's definitely not where I started or even just like what I thought about doing.
Okay.
So there wasn't like I didn't necessarily have this roadmap like, oh, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do this and then this and and then end up here. So, back when I was growing up, which is probably the same for us, right? Back when
Right.
I was growing up,
Back when we were growing
right?
up. Yes,
Back in
yes.
the day, right? Now, like when the kids have like their first day of schools and things like that, like how the parents have like the signs that they hold, and it's like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be, and
Yes,
first day of
yes.
first. So we didn't have that. Nobody was taking pictures. We just went to school,
No,
right?
no, we didn't have no sign that said first day of school, last day of school. We would just like, get on the bus and go to school, and I'll
Just
see
get
you
up on
when I
time.
get home from work.
Exactly. So thinking about that question, the first thing that comes to mind is what would have been on my sign? And I think
Mm,
about like when I wanted to grow up, I thought about I want to be a botanist, right? So that's a researcher who studies plants,
okay.
right? They study how like what happens under the soil, how plants reproduce, how they germinate, all the things, right? I have no idea why I wanted to be a
I'm trying to
botanist.
figure out
Yeah, because I mean, I don't even
why
know what I
you,
want to do with that.
right, right.
Like, are there people out here studying
That
plants?
goes along with me wanting to be an astronomer, okay? Like that was my thing back then. I don't know, but hey, okay,
So
I
yeah, so
can't
we
judge
started with
you.
botany. I don't know where that would have led, but that's what we started with. But as I got older, I was like, you know what? I want to be a teacher. Like I
Okay.
really love that as like I saw him like my dad was a teacher, so even just seeing him in the classroom because I would go to work with him sometimes. I was like, you know what? I want to be a teacher. But once I went to school, it was, I don't know what I was doing, Stephanie. I don't know what I was doing. I didn't have a plan. Once I went to school, I went for psychology, then I went to be a brain surgeon. It was like all these different things. But when I think about it now, actually all those things kind of those skills kind of lend itself to what I'm doing now. So
Mhm.
even in my role as a therapist, I teach, I provide psychoeducation, things of that sort.
Nice.
Really helping people understand what's happening in their nervous system, how to work with their nervous system to, even just get more aligned. There's research involved, like again, going beneath the surface, thinking about unconscious beliefs and, things there. So all those things kind of led to this thing. But I would say my experience mainly is kind of what led me here, just my work experience and the things that I was exposed to. But ultimately, I feel like what I'm doing is my gift. I feel like that I am called to empower women who are hurting,
Mhm.
but maybe because of fear, they don't have the voice to express it. So I wanted to really be able to create a safe space where women can really feel understood, where they can feel validated, where they can just really be themselves and not feel judged. And just really talk about what their struggles are and why they have those struggles. That's mainly like what I lean into, not so much, what was the path that got me here. If that makes sense.
It does make sense, and I really do appreciate you walking into your calling because it is a place and you are someone that I didn't have when I was going through the roles that I had. There
Mhm.
were nobody else looked like me,
Right.
woman of color in that position, no role models to look after. And I had to be strong. I had to be all these things. And there was no place that I could go without fear of judgment or being seen as weak, or she's not ready for that big of an assignment, or all the things that in the career realm, all those things played a part. And I wish that I'd had someone like you when I went through my stage of like physical breakdown. Like my body was literally shutting down. And so I'm glad that you're in that space. And I love that all the pieces fit together,
Yeah.
like all of them. Even the whole botany thing. I mean, it's elements of that and how we grow and how, watching plants,
Yeah.
we can learn a lot about ourselves when it
Yeah.
comes to frequency and how they survive. So all of those pieces work together, and I love, love, love that. Now, one of the things that we share, and it's made us both powerful and somewhat reserved, I won't say shy because we are
Right.
not we are not shy. Is that, we are introverts, and that doesn't take away from our power. I think it empowers us even more to walk in the space that we're in. What are your thoughts, and how has being an introvert help you be more successful? How do you use that superpower?
Yes, that's actually a really great question that I never even really thought about until, I kind of got in touch with your network and what it is that you do. I was like, wow, like being introverted is a superpower. It is a strength. Because like you said,
Mhm.
just even from your experience, a lot of time, especially in the corporate world, it's not viewed that way. It's almost viewed as a weakness, maybe that you're not good enough, maybe that you're not living, up to your full potential, your optimal level.
You've been in some of my conversations on my reviews. Oh, Stephanie, you just need to be a little bit more outgoing. But my group is doing
Yes.
great. Oh, you just need to. You're just so What? What? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But the impact is the same. Like the impact is the same. We good. So this even just reminds me of how you and I just connected. I remember, so of course we know like we're in the same financial
Mhm.
community. I remember, being away for the celebratory weekend and we were at the Georgia Aquarium. And I remember we were online and the line was like the rope lines, right? They're going down.
Yes.
Like I'm here and I remember you were coming up this way. And I can't remember exactly, I guess, like what triggered it. But I remember like you said to me, introverted, not shy. And because it was in my bio. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he hits me. Like that's my people's right there.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Right? Because that's often how we're viewed that we're being shy,
Mhm.
that maybe we're being standoffish. Maybe even sometimes like I've heard like maybe I don't have things that really contribute to the conversation,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Right.
that isn't
Right.
the case. I
Mhm.
think being introverted really allows me the ability to be silent, which I do love. One of the things that I've learned to love about myself. A lot of times people shy away from silence. They kind of rush to fill in the gaps. It feels awkward, it feels
Mhm.
uncomfortable. But I feel like there's so much you can learn from that quiet space. It
Mhm.
helps to even just like block out the noise around you, like just other people's voices, or even just the environment, or maybe even like your circumstances. Um, Even just your own voice, because sometimes our own voices can get in the way of stuff. So
That would be one of those areas that absolutely, I am guilty. I will put myself out there. I'm guilty that sometimes the loudest voice is my own voice.
yes. Yes. What they say, sometimes we're our own worst enemy.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's
Right.
us. It's not everybody else, it's us. So even just like that, I think silence allows me to just like cut all that off and really tune into my spirit. Like I'm a believer in God. So like I really believe that that allows space to even be able to hear his voice, to
Mhm.
know like what are my next steps or what should I be doing? And sometimes he's silent too, but again, I think it brings me more into this state of being where I can become more intentional, where it helps me
Mhm.
to really even just tune into the people around me, especially even more so within my work. So I believe like in doing that, because I'm silent, because I have, as an introvert, have the ability to just even be more intentional, because I think as introverts, we tend to think more deeply and be more, it allows me to be really intentional about even just like the things I create and make sure that they really speak to the lived experiences that people are having. So again, really having the ability to go below the surface of things. I think it also helps me to be more self-aware, recognize maybe what my shortcomings are, or even just things that I can, elevate on, or areas I can elevate in. Again, just kind of going back to that silence. So I feel like the silence is the thing that all those other things kind of branch off from, where again, I could just myself be introspective in terms of tuning into other people and really just getting an understanding of people, being able to tune into like body language and different emotions, how they, how they come up, and being careful not to analyze, because then I get,
I
like,
I I know
because
it
then it
is.
becomes that thing, like I'm analyzing people, especially being a therapist too. And no, I'm not analyzing nobody. If you know, If you're not on my sofa,
I'm not
I'm not
analyzing
analyzing
you.
you.
I'm not analyzing you. And I think it's a gift though that we do
Yes.
have that allows us to, it's a gift that needs to be used wisely. Like we have the
Yes.
ability to really tune into the empathetic side of us and understand and pick up people's energy and really, sometimes we can see in that silence, I feel like we can see under the surface of what they're saying
Yes.
beneath that they aren't saying. And that's a gift. And then, like you mentioned, uh, for me as well, leaning in my faith to know, am I to step into this or am I just to hold a space? Everybody does not or is not ready nor want any coaching or therapy or anything. They're not there yet. However, I can love them and serve them at the place
Yeah.
that they're at just by knowing, letting them know that they're seen.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think is a gift that we have a little bit more easier
Yeah.
than those who aren't like us because it comes natural for us.
Yes.
And we almost take it for granted, but it does
Right.
come natural for us to
Yeah.
be able to do that. That silence, I appreciate that. I think that's one of the things where I really say, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
not backing down from being an introvert. That is who I am, and we're introvert baddies.
Yes.
Let me lean into that silence part. And that is where that strength comes. And like you mentioned, my faith is something that guides me. My being a believer in Christ is it's
Mhm.
something that I sit in silence a lot, and that's really honed my skill to be able to see. Now, I don't say all I see because he didn't say it
Right.
all. He just said, let
Everybody
me
ain't
show
ready.
you something. He didn't say, let me show you so you can go tell them about themselves.
Exactly.
Just keeping it real. First of all, typically the conversation is like, he'll say, okay, and often it's not directed at them at all. It's something in me, right? He's showing me something in me that I need to sit silent with. Less time just about other people, but yeah, he didn't say see it and say it. He just said, hey, let me show you something. Let me show you how you can be of deeper service to that
Yeah.
person. That's
Yes.
just something that's really important to me because I think people need so much to be seen and to be heard because a lot of people are hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes they don't even know what it is that they
they
need or
don't.
what
They
it is
don't.
that they need to express. So,
Right,
like
right.
you said, just even being in that, like for us to be in that quiet place to open ourselves up to, the God that we serve to give us that information, like you said, to
Mhm.
be able to help other people, I think is like a awesome, an amazing privilege, right?
It is. To whom much is given, much is
Yeah.
required, and that's a lot of responsibility. And you know what? We step into it, not in perfection, and not in a place of, hey, we're not going to ever make mistakes because we do, but we know that there's grace and there's grace to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Okay. Look, hey, if you're
We can,
listening, you
that's a whole
already
nother
know.
podcast
Well,
episode.
that's a whole nother podcast. Those of you who've listened to my podcast before, like I say, I don't require you to believe like I believe, but I have to share my journey. It's part of who I am. So, you guys can just listen to the part with Erica and I or not. It's still good. Tune back in.
Yes,
All right.
take what you need and leave the rest.
Exactly. So take what you need, leave the rest. Now, what challenges? Because I know you've had some challenges because you really are a trailblazer in how you're thinking, how you approach counseling and therapy. You really are a trailblazer. So, what kind of challenges have you had to overcome on your path to success? And don't say you're not successful because I will not accept that from you. So let me just get that out of the way first. Okay, let's just get that out of the way because you are successful. So, what challenges have you had to overcome?
Yeah, so I am successful. It's so
Yes,
funny
she
to even
is.
just
Okay,
put that out there because
she's
I was
got a
like, oh, not
community.
quite
Okay,
yet.
we have victory. She said that she's successful.
Yes.
Yes.
So definitely, of course, a lot of challenges, right?
Mhm.
But I would say the one that sticks out most to me is so back in high school, there was this what was it? Like an academic program that happened during the summer.
Mm.
Um, and it was one of those things, at least at that time, I felt like it was one of those things that people wanted to be a part of because, you got to make new friends and just like, meet new people and just have fun during the summer. So during that time, I was like, a straight A student. I was involved in like a lot of activities. Um, I played one sport. I wasn't an athlete, but I played this
Which sport?
So I ran cross country track.
Okay.
And then I was also a cheerleader, so I can
Okay.
cheerleading.
Two sports. Two sports.
Yes. So, I knew I could get into this. There was like no doubt about that. So I go for the interview. And I can't remember the first question she asked, but I'm sure it was something basic because, the first question is usually not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember her asking the question and I just sat there. Like I froze.
Mm-hmm.
Like my body literally shut down. I could not say anything for the entire interview. It was almost like I just kind of blacked out almost. And now I understand what that is, like the freeze response that
Mm-hmm.
happens, when our systems get overwhelmed. And needless to say, I did not get into the program because I interview. I did not get into the program. Um, and that was like really a hard experience for me because I wasn't quite sure what had happened or like why I couldn't speak or like what, like I knew this stuff. Like I knew I was qualified, but for some reason I just couldn't allow myself to, voice what it is that needed to be voiced during that time. So when I think about like the challenge I've overcome, the main challenge I've overcome is using the power of my voice.
Oh.
And I'm still overcoming, I would say. Sometimes that could still be a little difficult, even just us trying to get this date together. I'm like, oh no, now. But I was like, I got to
Okay,
do
listeners.
it.
Yes, she told me no the first time.
I did.
Yes, she
And
did.
she wouldn't let me say no. So I had to say yes. So yeah, so like I've had really struggled with that because I had learned to believe that my voice was bad. No one has said that to me. No one said like, your voice is bad, don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so just from my life experiences and even like the things that were modeled to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really believe that I didn't know what was best for me. That, you know what, if I say something, I'm gonna be wrong. Or if I say something, people are gonna think I'm not smart.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I say something, then I'm not, was that good enough? So I
Yeah.
really like started to just like nitpick the things that would come up around just me being able to have this emotional expression. Um, and it really helped me back a lot, even just like throughout my own life, my entire life. Um, I missed out on promotions because I didn't want to use my voice. And I mean in the sense where I declined them because I was afraid to use my voice. I missed out like on a lot of opportunities because of this fear, again, due to this underlying belief that my voice was bad. So it wasn't until I had this brain spotting session. Brain spotting is actually one of the techniques that I do in my practice as well. It's more of a, just to say simplistically, more like a brain body based modality where we use eye positions to determine where
Oh.
you're holding maybe some trauma or intense emotions and allowing you to be able to like process it from that eye position. It wasn't until I had my own session that that came up for me.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wait, what is this?
Wow.
Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm afraid to use my voice. And of course, this is something that we discover on our own in these sessions. So it's not like someone said this to me or someone like led me here. It's
Mm-hmm.
something, again, like sitting in that silence, being
Mm-hmm.
mindful. And these are the things that came up for me. And that was like really a breakthrough for me. Understanding that I really do have power in my voice. And I do believe that my voice sometimes is stifled because it is my power. Like if I use this to its capacity, like what is the impact that I could really have? And sometimes that does get scary,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes it feels
Mm-hmm.
exhilarating,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that is the biggest thing that I am overcoming because again, still now I have to check in with that. Like, okay, what is it, Erica? Like, is that really not the thing? Or do you really not need to do that? Or is this you not wanting to speak up? You know, and then I, of course, allow myself to do these things. And it wasn't that I like automatically just, had this shift even after this breakthrough. Like I had to make conscious choices to say, you know what, I'm going to allow myself to be in positions that's going to let me use my voice, or where I can use my voice, I should
Mhm.
say, so that my system can start to learn that is safe, it's okay.
Mhm.
And yes, sometimes there was pushback. Sometimes, people would get upset, or sometimes I even hurt other people's feelings. But I knew that those weren't my things to carry, that this was my instrument that I needed to use and exercise in a way that, of course, edifies and uplifts and is able to like hold space for other people and let other people deal with whatever happens to them as a result, of that. So, yeah.
And that's another, I really am enjoying this interview because that's another area that we have in common. And that
Mm,
is the voice, realizing and finding my voice in the space of who I am. And like you were talking about, sometimes it I know with a lot of the introverts that I work with, the their self-doubt and different limiting beliefs gets collapsed into, okay, I'm an introvert and therefore these things are true. And
yes.
that's not true. And it's being able to own your voice, whatever your voice is, not what they've told you it is, but what
Right.
is your voice. Because, like you said, realizing that you are powerful, your voice is powerful. And because we're all made individually, if we don't use our voice to impact the people that we're supposed to impact, those people will go unserved
Yes.
because we've not used our voice. Is it easier overnight? Heck no.
So true. It is a daily thing.
Ah, yeah, yeah. It is daily. It is daily because there's still those little voices. Okay, being real. Well, what if they don't like me? Or what if I'm not saying the right thing? Or what if my message isn't meant for them? And you know what? It might not be meant for them, but that doesn't mean it's the wrong message. That just means it's not meant for them. So, not picking up, I love how you said that, not picking up what we're not meant to carry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that high functioning women here,
Yes.
that is hard.
Very,
That
very
is
today.
hard. Because if we see it down there, we want to pick it up. As well, sometimes it's us because we want to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
If I carry all this, I'll be the hero.
It's what gives
Okay.
us validation.
Oh, yes. Oh, it would be great. Okay. Another podcast coming. We will have another one because we could talk for a long time. I know we could. So we're definitely going to talk some more.
Yes.
But as we close out this episode, I really want you to be able to share with them and leave them with three things that you you want them to know or remember or apply.
Yes. So this first one actually speaks to what we just spoke about, like being able to use your voice. So I would say like to remember that you're never asking for too much. You're
Mm,
asking for what it is that you need and what it is that you require. And most times we're not asking for enough.
yes.
So understanding that we all have power in our voices, and really finding that space where that power is elevated for you, like where you could be most impactful, but know that again, this is about expressing your needs, expressing your wants, your priorities, all the things. And not to shrink yourself, because someone else feels like it's a lot.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. The other one I would say is that you are allowed to protect your peace even with the ones that you love.
Mhm,
And I
mhm,
kind of like did a little thing with that because I think especially as Black women, we're socialized to believe that we have to be everything to everyone.
mhm.
And especially when it comes to our family or those really close to us, it's almost like this automatic responsibility that we can't set boundaries around that we can't say what our limitations are around that because we're responsible for this. This is our thing. And I say we're allowed to, set some limitations there. We're allowed to
Yes.
say some no's. We're allowed to, hold whatever boundaries it is that we need to hold in order to protect our emotional space, right?
Yes.
Because at the
Yes.
end of the day, as we know, like as we often say, like if our cup is empty, like then what will we will we born, right? So even just making
We're
sure,
pouring the drudge from the bottom of the cup.
listen,
And
and who
that is
wants that?
helping no one. That is help the coffee grounds or the tea grounds, because I drink tea. That's what we're pouring at the bottom of the cup. And who wants that? Like, I
Yeah,
don't even want to drink that. But
me
that's what
either.
we're pouring from when we pour from an empty cup.
Yes, yes. So knowing that you are allowed to do those things, even with the people that you love.
Yeah.
And the last one is my signature for the year. This is this is my theme song. We got to make sure we protecting these edges
Yes.
because they get a little raggedy.
Yes.
Start getting little bald spots there, right? And when I say that, I mean our capacity, right?
Yes.
I always think about, for me, when I think about capacity, the visual I always have is like of a bathtub. And I think about like running water running into, a bathtub, and how if we don't turn the faucet off, eventually the water overflows. And as the water overflows, now you have this big mess. It could cause some
Hmm.
damage,
Hmm.
especially if water keeps flowing. So it's important to assess like, okay, when do I need to turn this faucet off? Let some water out the drain, and
Mm.
maybe even assess, you know what? Is my container a bathtub in this season of my life, or does it need to be a bowl? So knowing what our capacity is,
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
this season, maybe the bathtub is okay, of course, making sure, we're not overflowing, doing all the things, make sure we have the right levels here. But maybe in other seasons, depending on, what's happening for you or, in your life, that you need to shrink that capacity. And it doesn't have to be permanent, or maybe it does. But again, understanding what your needs are,
Hmm.
because, sometimes we learn that we have to sacrifice ourselves just for the well-being of other people. And we know, or we need to understand that that's false,
True. True.
because as we said, then after that, what?
Then what?
Just giving people the sludge at the bottom of the cup. So,
I
yeah.
like that. Well, this has been so good, and I definitely want to have you back because I want to, talk more too about things that we didn't talk about because we didn't talk
Yes.
about all the things.
We got a lot of bookmarks.
We got a lot of bookmarks. And so what I definitely would like for you to share how our guests can get in touch with you, and also, and I'll have that in the show notes, but go ahead and just share with them easily how they can get in touch with you and how they can get a copy of your book.
Yes. You can get in touch with me through my website, which is www.ericatKendrick.com. It's Erica with a K and then middle initial T. So Erica T. Kendrick. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Anxiety Therapist for Women. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Erica Kendrick, so without the T. And then for my book, which is the Anxious Woman Playbook, it is part of a series, or part of a developing series, I should say. The first release is Sis Stop Spiraling. And this
Mm.
speaks to the lived experience of anxiety, specifically overthinking, and what actually happens in our nervous system when we overthink, and how to be able to work with that to be able to, find some relief. So you can find that book. The site is www.payhip, that's payhip.com/Erica T. Kendrick.
Excellent, excellent. And as you said that about the book, I'm really thinking about doing a little book study inside my community, the
Okay.
Introvert Achievers Network. I think that would be good. So if I do that, would you come in and do a little Zoom thing with us after we
I
get
have
done
to
with the
I
book?
have to
Okay.
say yes because I have to use my voice, and I'm
That
on this
wasn't a
podcast
trick or
saying it right
anything,
now.
but I'm just working that thing out.
Yeah.
You all heard her, and she's gonna keep her word. But I really think it's important. Your calling is clear. Your message is powerful for such a time as this. And I thank you for being a guest today. And I look forward to more conversations with you, more from your voice. And for those that have joined, let us know the comments or thoughts that you have, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And thank you again, Erica.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
And we'll talk again soon.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye.